Hi, I'm Maria Theohara, Silvello Sews on social media. Welcome back to SewOver50 podcast on Sew Organised Style. Grab a cuppa and relax with us. On Sew Organised Style podcast, I begin today by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we record this podcast and pay respects to the elders past and present. Thanks for joining us on SewOver50 podcast on Sew Organised Style. SewOver50 intersects with all communities. We're a community that is so over ageism. Sarah Thomas runs the Curvy Pattern Database. And you heard a lot about the Curvy Pattern Database in January this year from Sarah. And she's back because for October, there is a Curvy Pattern Challenge. How are you, Sarah? Thanks for fitting me into your evening.
Oh, yeah, no problem at all. Super easy.
Oh, good. You know that your podcast has done really well, both of them, because they were in January and the database is still very much sought after by a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed with myself that it's lasted this long, that I'm doing so well. It's a little bit of a challenge every month to be like, no, you have to do the roundup, but I'm glad it's still going.
I know that there have been some months when it hasn't happened, but that's how life is. And just so that listeners understand, you're doing this on your own bat, right?
Oh, yeah. I just do this. I mean, a little bit it's fun and for my own list and a little bit to help others.
Yeah.
I don't do it for any particular purpose or gain.
The fact that you're doing this on your own bat in a way that you can use it makes it even more useful for people who you're sharing it with.
Yeah, I don't want ads. I don't want anything that if I would find it annoying when I was visiting someone else's website, I don't want it on mine either.
What's happening in October with the Curvy Pattern Database?
October of this year, I'm doing my second sewing CPD challenge where you sew a pattern that meets the Curvy Pattern Database requirements of a 60-inch hip. And you post about it on Instagram and you use the hashtag sewingcpd 2022. Yeah, I had to remember what year it is. You use the hashtag and you'll be entered to win a prize. Now, last year I think it was 42 prizes. It was a lot. And some of the prizes were pretty small. Not that a free pattern's small, it's still nice.
Yeah.
But this year I'm going a little bit bigger. The prizes tend to be a bit larger, but there's less of them. So there'll be, I think it's probably 15 prizes. Some of them are pattern collections, some of them are individual patterns, but the real biggie, which unfortunately is only for if you live in the US, so I'm very sorry, Maria. I do have a Babylock sewing machine to give away.
The fact that you've got prizes to encourage people to use hashtag sewingcpd 2022 is awesome in itself.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if I want to secure something physical, I basically have to pick a country. And on a whim, one day I just messaged Babylock because I live in the US. So I messaged the US Babylock account and they're like, yeah, you can have a sewing machine. And I was like, I thought this was a joke. I didn't think you'd do that. This was a joke. And they just were like, yeah, you can have one. Do you want us to ship it to you? And I was like, well, you ship it to them if I don't get it shipped to me. And they're like, yes. And I was like, okay, well, you can just ship it when the challenge is done.
That's a good recognition of a manufacturer that sees the value in the work that you're doing with sharing the Curvy Pattern Database.
Yeah, I do too. I might have sucked up a little. I have a Babylock surgery. I might have sucked up a little, but it was very kind of them, very nice of them.
Yeah. So the whole aim of using hashtag sewingcpd 2022 is that to reinforce the patterns that are out there that are on the database?
Yeah, exactly. There is way more pattern designers and way more patterns out there that are size inclusive, meeting that 60-inch, which is 152.4 centimeters hip requirement that I have for the database and the pattern roundups. And I think some people really forget exactly how many there really are. As of this very moment on the website, there are 133 designers in the database. Now, I know there's a couple I need to take out, but there's also a couple I need to add in. The ones taking out are because they've gone out of business. Will probably still be over 130. Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. Now, some of them may only have one pattern or two patterns, but some of them, Muna and Broad just posted that they've got 29 patterns. That's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a significant amount of options that 5 years ago people either didn't have or they didn't know about. My whole purpose is just to let you know, hey, you need a size inclusive pattern. Here they are. Put your measurements in the database, sort them by your own measurements, and these pattern makers will fit you or help you, because there's some that even if you're above their size range, they'll grade out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the ones I know that do that, they're grading out, but they're going to work with you. They're not just going to be like, here's a pattern I put together when I graded out 20 minutes after you asked me and like, good luck. Like, no, they're real, and they're actually going to help you through that process and make sure you have a quality pattern at the end. And that's something that it's really valuable. And I just want people to know about it.
Running this challenge again this month for October is a really good way to continue to let people know that this range of patterns are available.
Correct. And let them see it all in one place. Look at the hashtag and you can be like, this works and this works and this works and this pattern works. And oh, look, that'll fit me too. And that's nice.
Now, the criteria for the patterns to be on the pattern database, you said that it's the 60-inch hip.
152.4.
These are patterns that are available to be bought as PDF or as hard copies.
Correct. I don't do the big four. It's hard to track who their actual designer is, and they're inconsistent. So they may release a thing and, a season and like one pattern works. And they're also very easy to search. They know about them. So the patterns that are available, or rather listed, the designers that are listed and the patterns that are listed in the roundup are ones that are freely available for purchase. So if they're only available on Patreon, I don't list them. If they're only available in a book, I don't list them. They can be printed, they can be PDF, but they need to be something that is accessible by the public. It can't be that, oh, you have to jump through these 4 hoops and buy a whole collection in order to get it, or you need to buy this magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're out there and I know I could list them, but one, that makes it a lot harder for me. And 2, it doesn't make it easy for people to find the patterns.
So it's almost as if they're one click away.
Correct. And if you look at the roundups, every roundup has a photo of the pattern that came out and a link directly to the designer's website where you can purchase the pattern. Now, the pictures I use are supplied by the designer, so I don't know, like they're off the designer's website, so I don't always know, is it going to be a line drawing or is it going to be a modeled shot, a tester photo, etc. But it's some kind of representation of that's always shown in the new pattern roundup.
Thanks for clarifying that. The great thing for people who sew is that you offer the Curvy Pattern Database. The patterns are easily accessible. That, like I said, they're only one click away to purchase. And as you said, there are over 133 designers who are offering patterns.
There's rarely a month where there's less than 40 new patterns. There's over 400 new patterns per year that are size inclusive, that fit at least a 60-inch body hip measurement. It's amazing. It's a lot. It's great. It's really great. And it's really great to let other people scroll through it and see, these are all my possibilities.
That's a good commitment on the part of designers to ensure that there are inclusive patterns available for all sewers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so wonderful to see.
Sarah, thank you for, being on the podcast to let people know about all the work that you do for the Curvy Pattern Database, why you've gone ahead and developed it. But now, with the hashtag SewingCPD 2022 challenge for October, how this is going to continue to raise the visibility of those patterns that are available one click away.
Yes, I really want to encourage everyone to sew a pattern in October that meets the requirements. Get your entry in, win something cool. There's some big prizes out there this year. But even if you don't win a prize, you know what? You're adding to the hashtag, you're adding to the visibility of patterns available in the size inclusive sewing world.
The fact that you are running this challenge again with prizes, the fact that people can partake and raise that visibility is a really good recognition of the work that you're putting in when you can put that work into the database. It's all about life balance, and you're providing this not just to yourself, but to the sewing community at large.
Yeah, I'm happy to help others.
Sarah, all the best with the challenge, and I hope that sewers who enjoy using the Curvy Pattern Database gets behind this month's challenge.
Thank you, and thank you so much for having me.
It's great to see you again, Sarah. This episode of Sew Organised Style Podcast for SewOver50 was produced by me, Maria Thea Harris, with permission of Sarah, sound by bensound.com. Listeners, if you want to provide a guest post for SewOver50, make sure you direct message Judith and Sandy at the SewOver50 account on Instagram. Also, keep an eye out for the next Sew50 Live event that Bird and Molly are hosting. Remember, these SewOver50 Live events will always be available on the SewOver50 account. You can subscribe to Sew Organised Style Podcast, but with an S, not a Z, on all good podcast apps. Make sure you go back and listen to our free SewOver50 podcast archive. And if you can, consider supporting the production of this podcast on Patreon so I can keep producing it for you. We look forward to joining you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.